All right, so I guess this is video number 2. Sorry, I tried to mute the announcement, but it didn't work. So behavioral isolation, how do we keep species separate? So that's another way. Gametic isolation, right? So this is sperm, this is egg. This acrosome, which is part of the sperm, has digestive enzymes that will help the sperm to eat its way through the protective coating of the egg and deliver its genetic payload of, in humans at least, 23 chromosomes. So if the sperm doesn't have the correct digestive enzymes to eat through the egg, then it's not gonna make it. So that's another way that we keep populations separate. All right, moving on. So those were all pre-zygotic. Those were preventing the creation of a zygote, of a fertilized egg. Post-zygotic isolating mechanisms are fairly straightforward and self-explanatory. The zygotes, right, just don't survive well, possibly. So maybe they're born with lots of mutations, right? Maybe in development they just kind of like they don't work, possibly. Adults don't survive well, so if they're born with those mutations and those mutations are detrimental, that means they hurt them, right? Then they don't survive well. And then also, right, so here's our example that we started with. We could have hybrid infertility, right? So tigers and lions have a different number of chromosomes, right? And so as they go through meiosis, then their gametes look different, right? And so they're similar enough where they can make a liger, but then when the liger tries to go through meiosis and tries to make gametes, then we just get some different numbers of chromosomes that don't really work. Now, it is possible. I have heard of ligers mating with other ligers, or ligers mating with tigers, or ligers mating with lions, and it actually working like maybe 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 100 times or whatnot. And that's because like chances are the gametes aren't going to work, but possibly maybe 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, maybe the gametes will work, and maybe you'll get something that's actually viable. But that's another way. Post-zygotic isolating mechanism is a different number of chromosomes. All right, so here's a little practice, right? So this is kind of the setup for the following questions, for I think 3 of the following questions. So there are in, I don't know, nature, ecology, ring species, right? So the idea of a ring species is that it starts, kind of the ancestral population is right here, and then as the population grows, then if this area is suitable for its habitat, then it goes this way, and this area is also suitable for its habitat, then it goes this way. This area in here is not suitable for its habitat, but then this area up here is, so that there's the potential for an ancestral species after thousands and thousands of years and lots of different mutations to go ahead and to kind of meet again up in the middle after they got past this unsuitable or inhabitable area. So we're looking at the greenish warbler, which is a type of bird, breed in the forests of Central and Northern Asia and Eastern Europe, the Tibetan Plateau, and these deserts that's inhospitable for these birds. So that's this area right here. It's inhospitable for those birds. Their distribution follows a ring of mountains. So mountainous areas, they like the mountains, right? Surrounds the deserts, including the forests of Siberia to the north. Remarkable geographic variation in their plumage, patterns, songs, and genetics. So plumage, right, what they look like. Songs, behavioral, right, genetics, chromosomal. Male warbler song is crucial to their successful reproduction. You got to sing. In birds, males usually react aggressively to other males singing the same type of song since they are potential competitors for female mates. All right, so that's the setup. Right, so then here we go. And this is, we'll do the question and then pause it and then come back with the answer, obviously. So female warblers from population JL, so that's right here, do not recognize the songs of males in population XN. So right here, they will not mate with them. This is an example of the evolution of reproductive isolation. So pause, take a guess. All right, good. True. Yeah, that is reproductive isolation because that is behavioral reproductive isolation, because if they don't recognize the songs, they will not mate, reproductively isolated. All right, moving on. Ring species of greenish warblers, variation in allopatric, speciation, or requiring geographic isolation. I would say that's true because we have this geographic isolation right here. Now, once you get up here into these populations, that's no longer geographic isolation. Now that has to be sympatric isolation or sympatric speciation. But I would say you have to have the geographic isolation to have a ring species. All right, I forgot to pause it for that one, but that's okay. All right, lack of recognition of male song by the female greenish warblers is the main mode by which reproductive isolation occurs. This is an example of a post-zygotic isolating mechanism. True, false, or I don't know. What do you guys think? So that would actually be false, right? Lack of recognition. They're not going to mate. They're not going to produce a zygote. So lack of recognition is a pre-zygotic rather than a post-zygotic isolating mechanism. So you just got to know your prefixes, right? I think that's GLRs, right? And then last one. So this is not about the warblers, but it's about snail shells. So snail shells coil either to the right dextral or to the left sinistral. Left or right-handedness of snail shell is referred to as its chirility. I think that's how you say that. I know the root word is chiral because that shows up in chemistry. You have your chiral compounds. But anyways, chirility. Snails of opposite chirility are either unable to mate or they do so with significant difficulty. What type of reproductive isolation is this? Temporal, mechanical, habitat, gametic, or behavioral? Take a second, answer it for yourself. All right, so this would obviously be mechanical because we're looking at the shape of the shell or the shape of the body, and they just don't fit well together. All right, so thus ends our notes for speciation. Just so you guys are kind of aware, let me get out my lesson plan book real quick. So Wednesday was kind of our soft start, our check-in. You did the chapter 17 reading and review guide, which is due next week. Today, Thursday, hopefully you've watched these two videos. I'm going to activate the multiple choice questions and the free response questions in AP Classroom, so you can start doing that. Friday, we're not going to have any class because that's our even block. Monday, I'm going to do a lecture on evidence for evolution, which we really did a good job of in regular biology, so we're not going to do a whole lot new with that. And then we're going to clean up evolution on Monday, so hopefully we'll be done with that. Tuesday is going to be work time on AP Classroom. I'm going to make a video going through the multiple choice and going through the essay questions and explaining that. So that'll be a video that you can watch on Tuesday. And then Thursday, I'll make a Unit 7 test on AP Classroom, and then it'll be your job to go ahead and take that test. That will be for a grade. And remember that tests with remote education, they're open note, open book, but they are going to be timed. So that's actually a good thing because that gets us ready for the AP college exam at the end of the year. And then, yeah, that's just kind of how we have to do it for remote education. So this has been Mr. Leo. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.